Welcome back, my friends, to the show that never ends. The Analyst hat-trick is back as the Premier League returns to action this weekend following the last international break of 2021. So just to give you a very quick recap, it's Chelsea who sit at the top of the table after just 11 game weeks, but there is a chasing pack close behind them, including the likes of Manchester City and West Ham United. But here's the thing to bear in mind. Over the next 2 months, another 10 game weeks in the Premier League season will go by. So that league table might look very, very different by then. And you can say the same as well for our prediction table too. Let's see the standings, where we'll have to gloss over the fact that I went 3 for 3 last time out and focus on the fact that both you and I have pulled clear of our supercomputer, although we've got some work to do to chase Matt down at the top of the standings, who is nearly on the magical 50% correct predictions for the season so far. But again, the next 2 months could be pivotal in how the table looks. So let's get into it, shall we? Beginning at the King Power Stadium, where Leicester City host the league leaders Chelsea. And it's become a little bit of a bogey fixture for the Foxes whenever they've taken on the side at the top of the table. They have lost 14 of their last 16 games against the league leaders. Their last victory coming all the way back in 1998 when Tony Cottee scored the winning goal against Manchester United at Old Trafford. But our win probability model isn't believing they'll be able to pull off something in this game, giving Chelsea a 39.7% chance of success. However, they are unbeaten in their last 3 home Premier League matches against the Blues, having won 1 and drawn 2. In fact, Leicester have won 2 matches so far in all competitions against the Blues, if we include their success in the FA Cup final. And over the past decade, only one team has been able to beat Chelsea in 3 fixtures in a calendar year, that being Manchester United back in 2019. But you in the Opta Analyst community believe that won't be happening this time around, with 63.8% of you believing Chelsea will be victorious. And don't be surprised if the winner comes from a header. No side have scored more headed goals in the Premier League this term than Chelsea's 4, whilst no side have conceded more than Leicester's 4. So what should you be keeping your eyes out on in the key players in the game on Saturday? Well, Jamie Vardy is just 2 goals away from equaling Ian Wright's Premier League record of 93 goals scored after turning 30. The trouble is, he has only scored in 1 of his 9 Premier League games against sides at the top of the table, that strike coming in a 5-1 defeat at Manchester City in February of 2018. Whilst Romelu Lukaku's eyes will be lighting up at seeing Brendan Rodgers in the opposition dugout, the Belgian has scored 5 goals in 8 Premier League appearances against teams managed by the Northern Irishman. No player has netted more, although he sits equal on that record with Harry Kane. And oof, this doesn't make for pretty reading thanks to us analyst contributors. Everyone bar me and Duncan going with a Chelsea win. But don't forget, Brendan Rodgers was at one point a big part of the structure at Chelsea within their academy. That's why I always believe he's got a little extra in the tank when it comes to games against his former employers. With so many Saturday games, we're jumping straight into the next one, and what a day it's going to be for Eddie Howe, stepping into the St James's Park dugout for the first ever time against Brentford. And whilst a win will be gratefully appreciated by Magpies fans, seeing as they are still without one in the Premier League this season, we do have to bear in mind that of the last 8 Magpie managers, only one of them has been able to enjoy success in their first game at the helm. And that was Alan Pardew when he recorded a 3-1 victory over Liverpool in December of 2010. And by the slenderest of margins, our win probability model is backing Howe and his new side to be successful, giving them a 36.8% chance of success compared to the Bees' 33.5%. And perhaps that's because the last two winless sides in the Premier League this season were also able to pick up victories over Brentford, that being Burnley on match week 10 and Norwich the following week. After a promising start to life back in the top flight, it's been a little bit of a tough time for Brentford recently, losing 4 consecutive Premier League games. Now we have to go all the way back to 2007 for the last time that Brentford lost 5 games consecutively in the league, and that was when they were playing down in League 2. And in fact, 3 of the 5 teams that they played during that run and lost to are actually no longer in the Football League. Those 3 teams being Darlington, Macclesfield Town and Grimsby Town. However, you in the Opta Analyst community believe we are looking at Brentford to buck their recent trend and come out victorious in this one, and why not? Along with Watford, Newcastle are the only side without a clean sheet in the Premier League so far this season, having conceded 24, second worst only to Norwich's 26. If the Bees are to be successful this weekend, it might be worth keeping your eyes on Ivan Toney. Now, he made 2 Premier League appearances for Newcastle in the 2015-2016 campaign, and in the history of the Premier League, Newcastle have conceded more goals to players who used to play for them in the competition than any other side. 49 times players have come back to haunt them. Will Toney make it the magical number 50? And judging by the way of our contributors, most of them believe we'll be seeing a draw first game up, leaving us with all options on the table. I'm just getting a little misty-eyed over the possibility of Howe proving to be a great success in the North East, at least initially, and I'm backing the Magpies to be victorious. Plenty of games to feast upon on Saturday, 8 in fact, with an incredible 6 at the traditional 3 PM kickoff slot. Our supercomputer clearly believes that Steven Gerrard won't let it slip in his first game in charge of Aston Villa, making them overwhelming favourites to beat Brighton. Yes, I have given the supercomputer a little bit of a kick just to make sure, especially as Gerrard will become the 13th different permanent manager in their Premier League campaigns, but only 2 of them have tasted victory in their first games. Surprisingly, that was John Gregory back in 1998 and the late Gerard Houllier in 2010. Meanwhile, our supercomputer is also predicting victories for West Ham, Manchester United, Southampton and Burnley. I'm giving the game away a little bit early on this one, but you're going to want to stay around to see how close this one runs on the supercomputer, because maybe there's a little bit of recency bias with Burnley as they get set to take on Crystal Palace. You see, they have won as many points and scored as many goals in their past 3 games combined as they had done in their previous 11 combined. I said it would be tight on the supercomputer, and just look at that. Just over a percentage point between the 2 outfits in this one. And don't be surprised if the first goal scorers are the ones who will go on to win. It has happened in each of the last 10 Premier League meetings between the sides, dating back to 2015. I'm completely glossing over the fact that the Eagles themselves are on a very nifty run of form. Unbeaten in their last 6 Premier League games, which is their longest run without a defeat since August of 2018. And they'll be looking to make it 3 consecutive wins in the league for the first time since a run of 4 between February and June of 2020. And it's that form which has you in the Opta Analyst community believing it will be the Eagles flying high, with 60.9% of the vote backing them to be victorious. But remember, of the last 8 top flight games between the clubs at Turf Moor, none of them have ended in a draw. So maybe we can discount that 24.8% of you that were going for the sides to share a point. So to the players and who we need to look out for in this one. Maxwell Cornet has made a big impact for the Clarets so far in his debut Premier League season, as of the 22 players to have scored at least 4 goals so far in this campaign. The Frenchman has the best minutes per goal ratio, finding the back of the net every 92 minutes that he has played. Meanwhile, Conor Gallagher is flying high with the Eagles, having been involved in 6 Premier League goals in 10 games for them this season, which is 2 more than he was in 30 games for West Brom last campaign. He's now looking to become the first Englishman to score in 3 consecutive league games for Palace since Glenn Murray in April of 2015. Remember how I said to discount the draw in this one? Well, Duncan has made it a clean sweep of draws for the weekend, while the rest of us have fallen either side of the fence. Just 2 more games to briefly glance over here, as we, once again, don't allow a single Premier League game to slip by without the outcomes of our win probability model. Perhaps no surprises though that Manchester City and Spurs are favourites to be victorious in their Sunday matches, although it hasn't been the best of weeks for Pep Guardiola's side, who no doubt will have been rocked by falling out of top spot in our power rankings for the top clubs across Europe, with Bayern Munich and Liverpool leapfrogging them, leaving them feeling the blues as they sit in 3rd. Don't forget you can check out that article along with many other great bits all on the Analyst.com, the home of data-driven storytelling. And of course make sure you're following our Twitter account as well to take part in the polls for next week's Analyst Hat-Trick. And of course you get all the latest insights from the weekend's action as well. In the meantime though, thank you very much for tuning in. And until next time, goodbye.